We are about to get started. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out this afternoon. We will get started very shortly. I'm Nikita Bowen Hardy, president of the Schenectady NAACP branch, number 2175. We are here today because there is a pattern, a persistent and intentional one taking place right here in Schenectady. A pattern where Black leaders are elevated when it benefits the powerful, but dismissed when they lead boldly. A pattern where transparency is demanded from us, but never modeled by those who make the rules. A pattern where powerful systems shape narratives to maintain control and not justice. This isn't about one, two, three, multiple persons. This is about a coordinated attempt to suppress truth, manipulate democracy, and discredit Black leadership that doesn't bend. We've seen it before, and we're seeing it again. We submitted an op-ed on behalf of the NAACP to name that truth. It was clear, it was factual, and it was urgent. And the Gazette rejected it not once, but twice. That's not oversight, that is suppression. So today, I'm doing what the Gazette refused to do. I'm reading our words, the words they would not print so that our community hears them, and so that history remembers them. Let me now share the op-ed from the Schenectady NAACP branch in full. The NAACP has fought for over a century to ensure that Black voices are not misrepresented or silenced. When the crisis, the NAACP's official publication, was founded in 1910, editor W.E.B. Du Bois noticed that it was the rule of the most white papers never to publish a picture of a colored person except as a criminal. More than a century later, Black leaders are still disproportionately scrutinized, cast as untrustworthy and misrepresented. That is all too real here in Schenectady. Consider that the Schenectady Democratic Committee filed paperwork to remove the majority of people of color from the committee in spring of 2023 in retaliation for their support of Marion Porterfield in her mayoral race. In July of 2023, the Schenectady NAACP filed concerns with the Democratic City and county committees with no response. Then in January of 2025, despite executive leadership of the Democratic Committee recommending all three incumbents for re-election, the committee endorsed only one, leaving out two experienced Black incumbents, Marion Porterfield and Damani Farley, forcing them into primary challenges. Instead, two newcomers with no city council experience were endorsed, nothing against them. The work and leadership of Porterfield and Farley have been disregarded, and that erasure is compounded by recent media coverage. Take the Gazette's February 18th article, where unverified claims by Schenectady GOP Chair Tom Kennedy received full coverage, while Farley's prior exoneration was reduced to one sentence. And in that same article, Mayor McCarthy encourages both the school district and Farley to be open and frank, despite knowing that personal matters are protected by law. The Gazette's editorial on February 26th reinforced that same false narrative, demanding transparency in a matter where confidentiality is legally required. We wish Mayor McCarthy and Chairman Kennedy followed Superintendent Dr. Carlos Cotto's lead, respecting due process and confidentiality rather than fueling suspicion. Farley and Porterfield are upholding the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and protecting the rights of all employees, yet they are the only ones portrayed as evasive. This is not just about media. It is about a system that selectively enforces scrutiny and discredits Black leadership in Schenectady. The NAACP has fought for over a century to protect the truth, and we will not remain silent as dominant power structures distort that truth to maintain control. We call on everyone with a sense of fairness and justice to stand with us. Schenectady deserves nothing less. Respectfully, Schenectady NAACP Branch 2175. We have a lineup of speakers today. Next up, we have Angela Tatum, who is a community voice who co-authored with her husband, Elroy Tatum, a recently published op-ed.
Good afternoon. Yeah, so my husband, Elroy Tatum, who's not here today, but we wrote this together in February, and it absolutely applies to City Council President Marion Porterfield as well. Try to see the best in people is an old adage that feels increasingly out of step with today's national political climate. Unfortunately, that same cynicism is seeping into our local discourse, where many are quick to seek out the worst in others, even when the worst is fabricated. Councilman Damani Farley, a dedicated public servant and longstanding community advocate, has earned a reputation for showing up, speaking out, and standing with those whose voices are often ignored, especially historically marginalized communities. His unwavering commitment to integrity and equity has made a tangible difference in the lives of countless residents. Naturally, when such a leader is unfairly attacked, his constituents will speak up. Recent attempts to sow distrust and confusion around Councilman Farley's character in the name of transparency raise an important question. Is transparency truly about pursuing truth, or is it being weaponized to satisfy the demands of political opponents eager to tarnish his reputation? True transparency demands that information shared with the public is accurate and complete. Anything less risks perpetuating harmful rumors that fracture our community rather than strengthen it. In an era where truth tellers and fact checkers are under siege, it is more critical than ever to prioritize truth over sensationalism. Our city cannot afford to lose principled leaders like Damani Farley to speculation and political opportunism. His consistent record of service, coupled with the repeated dismissal of unfounded accusations against him, speaks volumes. Those who have worked with him understand that his leadership is driven by a deep love for Schenectady, not self-interest. The attacks against him say more about the fear some hold toward his bold leadership than they do about his character. We applaud Damani Farley for standing firm in the face of adversity. Our community needs leaders like him now more than ever, and we will continue to stand with him and also with City Council President Marion Porterfield, because the truth always comes to light. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angela. Next, we have Cheryl Neckerman, President of League of Women Voters of Schenectady County. Cheryl.
Hello. So I wanted to let you know that I give a lot of talks to groups, and especially if I'm talking to young people about voting, I like to show them two sets of photos. Now, you're not going to be able to see these photos unless you're standing right next to me. But the top row of the first set is the Schenectady School Board in the year 2010. And if you could see, you would notice that there are 7 people on the board and not one person of color. Now the bottom row is today's school board. It's a very different picture. Now instead of 7 white people, we have, actually, is it only 4? I think it's 5. It is 5 people of color on the school board, a black superintendent, and a very diverse group of student representatives. Very different story. Now the second set of photos that I like to show is the City Council. From the year 2000, the top row. So there was an unwritten rule for a long time in Schenectady that there would be 1 black person on the City Council. No more and no less. Sure enough, this picture shows just 1 black person. Now today's City Council is very different. Now we have 4 people of color. And, I used to be very proud showing these photos to people because I thought it showed that Schenectady had finally made some real progress, that our government actually reflected the people in the city. Looking at the news today, I'm a lot less optimistic. We started out with 8 candidates for city council, and we are down to 5 because of ballot challenges. We don't want to go back to the bad old days. We are better than that.
Next, we have Jamaica Miles, co-founder of All of Us, community organizer and advocate.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am the co-founder and executive director of All of Us. I also was elected to the school board in 2021 and then re-elected in 2024 unapologetically. At a time when blatant racism is emanating from the highest levels of our government, our federal government, and echoed by state and local institutions across the country, the residents of Schenectady should be able to look to our own local leadership for reassurance. Reassurance that they will not take part in the nationwide rollback of the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, or any hard-fought progress made in the ongoing struggle against racism in our communities and at the ballot box. Unfortunately, we are witnessing in Schenectady, and it tells a different story. The Schenectady Democratic Committee is being weaponized to push Black voices out of spaces where decisions are made, spaces of access, opportunity, representation, and influence. This is not just political maneuvering. It is an attack on democracy itself. The same good old boys club that has long prioritized cronyism and nepotism over equity and justice continues to silence dissent and protect the status quo. They don't want new ideas. They don't want accountability. They want a room full of yes men and women who will nod along while exclusion and systemic injustice persists. That is not democracy. That is not representation. I am deeply disappointed by what I see unfolding in the city of Schenectady, though, sadly, I am not surprised. But disappointment must not become silence. Those committed to justice must continue to confront entrenched power, especially when it refuses to listen. Our voice matters, precisely because they are being pushed out. If you couldn't stand with us today, stand with us tomorrow. Raise your voice. Make it known to those in power we do not consent to this. You can join all of us at the bit.ly United We Thrive 2025. And to those that believe differently, hands off representation, Hands off our votes. Hands off our democracy. Hands off all of us. Thank you.
We are fired up. We're not done yet. Next, we have Danielle Brown, Union College president of the chapter on Union College's campus, and a junior.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out today to bring awareness to some pressing issues in the community. My name is Danielle Brown, and I am the president of the Union College NAACP. I'm here today not just as a student, but as someone who's paying close attention, because what's happening in Schenectady right now is bigger than politics. It's about integrity, it's about truth, and it's about our future. As young people, we are told to get involved, to speak up, and to lead. But what does that leadership mean when Black voices are consistently dismissed, misrepresented, or silenced? Right now, we're watching committed Black leaders be pushed out of decision-making spaces. We've watched how the media gave space to unverified claims while shrinking the truth down. That's not journalism, that's narrative control. So let me ask this. If we close the doors on these leaders now, what message are we sending to the next generation? What do we learn when truth is ignored and replaced with rumors? When political power is prioritized over fairness? We learn that leadership comes with a price and that some of us aren't allowed to pay it. What's happening isn't new. It echoes the legacy many warned us about a century ago. But I want to be clear, we're not just here to echo history. We're here to shape the future. As students, we believe in accountability. We believe in due process. We believe that leadership should reflect the people it serves, not just those who benefit from the status quo. This matters for Schenectady, and it matters for every young Black person watching to see if speaking out is worth it. Let's show them that it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job. Great job. I'd like to call up Councilwoman Marion Porterfield.
Good afternoon. I wasn't planning to speak today. I'm not on the list of speakers. However, as I was standing here today, I was just struck and reminded of something that happened on these very same steps in September of 2021. For those of you that don't know the story, in September of 2021, we were here to announce our candidacy. It was 4 candidates of color. We were all had gone through a primary. We were endorsed. We were ready to move forward, and just here to announce our candidacy. Kind of same situation. And there were people that came from across the street and marched against our candidacy. Imagine how that must have felt in 2021. And when someone who was part of the march was asked about it, they said it was an anti-protest, as though our candidacy was a protest. So I just want to remind you of that story, that this did not just begin. This has been systemic and ongoing, and I've been on the council for 13 years, so I have even more stories I could tell you. I am not going to tell you them all today, but I thought that was a very important, that people need to be reminded of that, and it was a very important story to tell today, that on these same steps, even though it was done a different way, there were people who were against our candidacy then. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that historical reminder, Councilwoman Porterfield. It needs to be stated today. Next, I will call up my closing remarks. I asked my VP Justin Chairs to stand up here with me for their closing remarks. Thank you to every voice raised today. Thank you to those who have spoken truth. who have shown up in integrity, and who refuse to let this moment pass in silence. Let's be clear. We are not here asking for permission. We are naming what's done in the dark and the light and bringing it all into the light. We are calling out collusion, manipulation, and suppression for exactly what they are. We are showing what it means to lead with community, with courage, and with conviction. But this moment doesn't end here. This is not a one-day event. It's a turning point. Here's what we ask of you, our community. Stay engaged. Come to our general membership meetings. Join a committee. Be a part of the ongoing work. Jamaica shared her information as well. Hold the systems accountable. Ask questions. Demand transparency. Name what you see. Uplift trusted leadership. Support those who have consistently shown up for this community, and don't let the false narrative stick. Share the truth. Read and repost the op-ed. Talk to your neighbors. Educate your circles. The narrative shifts when we control it. We are not just here because of what the Gazette refused to publish. We are here because the truth deserves a microphone and a movement that is behind it. Schenectady deserves justice. Our children deserve representation. And our leaders deserve to stand without fear of being torn down for doing the right thing. Let's keep showing up. Let's keep organizing. Let's keep telling the truth loud enough that no one can silence it. Thank you. Justin?
I'll keep it simple today. What's already been said speaks for itself. It is never the wrong time to do the right thing. Suppression and oppression in any form cannot be tolerated or accepted. And if we accept it and stand by and don't call it out and don't hear these stories and don't see and speak on those situations or allow our history to be erased of what's occurred, what's already been endured, the problem will always persist and continue. But the truth of the matter is, this here shows that we are persistent. We will be consistent in our actions, devout in how we move, and unwavering in doing the right thing. So I ask of everyone here to pay attention. Don't allow them to write a narrative that's not true. Be active in the city's ongoings. Be a part of local organizations that are standing up to these injustices, and continue to work hard to make sure that this is home for everybody and everyone receives the justice that they deserve and the democracy that we deserve as people at the higher level and this level try to tear it down. It's very simple. We got work to do. Thank you for being here.
We have one more speaker. Tamoni Fali.
Thank you. So like President Porterfield, I wasn't planning on speaking today, but I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention a few things here in front of you all today. I think it's very interesting that we do sit in this same place where we experienced that very violent act against us just showing up to express our candidacy to people. I think that our nation right now is in a point of reflection. And it's very easy for people, because you have a certain political affiliation, to think that let's point across the aisle and talk about the things that we see happening over there. And you do that in a way to try to disguise or cover up the things that you were doing the very similar actions yourself. I ask that as we are in this point of reflection in the nation, we recognize that that's something that we must do ourselves. Because if you're not doing that, then what you're doing is perpetuating the problem that's happening right now. With our own Democratic Party, we need some more mirrors and maybe some less windows. Okay, we really need to stand up and stand for democratic values. See, I was told at a young age that the truth is the truth no matter who's telling it. And I think that that is the type of truth that we all need to make sure our Democrat, our Republicans, everyone, all of our citizens, everyone knows that that is the standard of leadership in the city of Schenectady, and we will accept nothing less. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, everyone. We are here a few minutes after to connect with those who'd like to speak, but this concludes our press conference today. I thank our community, I thank our neighbors, I thank our friends for coming out and supporting us and standing behind us as we boldly stand for truth, justice, and democracy. Have a great one.